can put it on the board. Yeah.
Team to win the game. Hawk win. And Mack will take it all the way in for a touchdown. How crazy was that?
And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
This is the Athlete Beat, WCRX's sole sports show featuring modern and classic hip-hop. Only here on 88.1 FM, Chicago. All right, you heard it. This is the Athlete Beat, 7:04 here at WCRX FM, 88.1 Chicago. I am your host, Brandon Orlowski. Once again, I believe this is week 4 of school, but week 3 of the show. First week, obviously, Martin Luther King Day. Didn't have classes. None of the buildings were open. Good thing and bad thing, I guess. So, once again, Brandon Orlowski here. Today, I am joined by my guest, Jake Barrett.
What's up?
How are you, Jake?
I'm great. I'm excited to be on the show. I love talking sports, and I'm just ready to get started.
Now, if you guys listened last week or checked out the podcast, which is available on
TuneIn.
Yeah, well, the radio show, the live broadcast is on TuneIn. The podcast is available on Anchor. It's now on Stitcher. Possibly going to be on Apple and Google in the next couple of days. Just waiting for verification. Nice. But last week we had Ethan Anderson on, and Ethan shared that he does a podcast called the Fog Bowl Podcast about football, and Jake is the opposite co-host.
Yes, it's the Fog Bowl because Ethan's a Bears guy. I'm an Eagles guy. I was born and raised in Philadelphia. If I go to Philadelphia, you probably won't say that because I grew up in the suburbs. But
that's just like, if you live in Naperville or Aurora. I'm from Chicago. No, you're not.
I went to high school in Philly. My mom was in Philly. So, I have some roots at least. It's not like I'm a full Naperville Cubs fan,
Yeah. So, is football your favorite sport then?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I was so excited when the Eagles won the Super Bowl last year. That was probably the top 5 moment of my life. It was an amazing experience. I do love basketball and baseball. Baseball is really slow. It's not just the game is slow, but the off season is even slower.
Yeah. So
it's been a struggle just waiting on Bryce Harper to sign with the Phillies.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. Like, none of the big free agents have signed either.
Yeah,
you're waiting for Harper for the Phillies. We're waiting for Machado to go to the Sox finally, but still nothing has happened. I know Bryce Harper's the more sexy player.
I mean, I actually am of the opinion that Manny Machado and Bryce Harper are pretty similar caliber players.
Really?
Yeah, I think Machado probably doesn't have the hyperactive bat that Harper does, but Machado is better defensively, and he's in a more important position defensively at third base. If you look at their WAR over the past years, and you average them out, I think Bryce Harper's overrated and Manny Machado's underrated. But I still love Bryce Harper.
No, yeah, Bryce Harper. And the thing about that is, they're both commanding. They want so much money in the contracts, and deservedly so.
I agree.
Depending on if you believe that athletes should get paid, which I do, Bryce Harper's definitely worth the $300 million.
I think Manny Machado's worth the $300 million. Obviously, he's going to get hurt by his comments, I'm not Johnny Hustle, whatever that means.
That was probably my main deterrent at first for not wanting Manny Machado, but then you look at who the White Sox have on their team, and they're like, yeah, we need a little bit more talent. I mean, the farm system's strong, but you need those veteran players to bring them along.
I agree. It would be like in Philadelphia in 2004, the Phillies signed Jim Thome, even though they had Ryan Howard in the minors, who was lighting up in the minors. They had Jim Thome for a year, and Jim Thome's a Hall of Famer. It'd be kind of a similar situation.
Former White Sox as well.
Yeah, he retired at White Sox. He actually was part of the recruit for pitching Manny Machado to the White Sox, which really upset me.
I thought it was didn't they meet with Bryce Harper in Vegas or something?
They recently did that as well. Every team has met with Bryce Harper in Vegas. It's just
true.
A house party at
I don't know.
Harper.
I don't know if you saw any of the pictures, but at the United Center, somebody took pictures. And
that really upset me.
And it leaked out that they had the Michael Jordan statue with a White Sox Bryce Harper jersey on, and they had welcome Bryce Harper. I guess that was going to be their pitch to him. I guess.
Yeah,
to bring him to the United Center.
Yeah, in Philadelphia they had beat writers outside of Citizens Bank Park. That's where they did the tour for Manny Machado, and they had Manny Machado's face on the big screen on the Jumbotron, and they had welcome Manny Machado, and it was Manny Machado in a Philadelphia uniform, and all the beat writers outside of the stadium. It was pouring rain. We're just taking pictures of what was going on inside the stadium as they were presenting to him.
Do you think it's kind of corny whenever players, no matter what league it's in. Do you think it's kind of corny that teams kind of like put the jersey on the player prematurely?
Well,
because I know when the Bulls tried to bring Carmelo Anthony in 4 or 5 years ago, they had him in the Bulls jersey on like the big electronic billboard outside of the stadium. The Rockets did the same thing.
I think it's smart. I think a player can look at that and be like, I look good in red. That's like part of the move. I think it's mandatory almost just to do it as a sales pitch. I'm not a salesman, but I think it's...
No sports marketing background or anything?
No, I am a comedy major. The exact opposite. I'm making the worst financial decision of my life.
I mean, I'm in radio too, so I'm not far behind.
Exactly.
But yeah, so let's just get into this real quick before we got to take our first break. Did you watch any of the American Alliance of Football?
Not a lot of it. I watched highlights. I declared my fandom. I'm a Memphis Express fan.
And why is that?
Philadelphia doesn't have a team. And also, Mike Singletary is the head coach.
There you go.
He's a great player. Obviously, Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I live in Chicago. I have to adopt something from Chicago.
Yeah, you got to know the history just a little bit.
Christian Hackenberg is the quarterback. You remember Christian Hackenberg?
That makes me not want to be a fan.
Well, no, I'm from Pennsylvania. I have a bunch of friends that go to Penn State.
Fair enough.
So I watched Christian Hackenberg all 3 or 4 years he went to Penn State. He was really bad.
Yeah, and then he put up the goose egg.
He put up the goose egg in the NFL. I remember I was at my friend's house during the NFL draft, during the Carson Wentz draft, and we were watching the second round of the draft. I don't know why. The Eagles didn't have any second-round picks. But Christian Hackenberg was like the surprise selection of the draft in the middle of the second round by the Jets. And like all my friends were going crazy, and I was like, that's a terrible pick.
Yeah, he was projected to go maybe number 1 at some point.
Yeah, when Bill O'Brien was his head coach his freshman year, and after that it was just a steep downhill decline. Before we leave, I saw a highlight clip of him just getting sacked and throwing bad throws. Yeah. They got a 0 in their game against the Arizona. I think it was the Arizona.
What was it? 26-0.
Yeah, it was terrible. That's Christian Hackenberg.
The only team from the weekend in AAF to be shut out.
Yeah, of course it's. I picked them.
Yeah, he was like 10 for 27, something like that.
Oh gosh, yeah, he's not good. But it's my team. I have to stick with it.
Did you see the play of God? I forget who his name was. I could probably look it up right now, but you know what I'm talking about. The hit on the quarterback. That
and everybody's going crazy.
That made his helmet fly into Section E.
Yeah, I saw that. Everybody was going crazy over that. I saw like a bunch of conflicting opinions days later. Because
they didn't call a flag or anything.
Yeah, because that's why the NFL's installing safety protocols.
Yeah, in the NFL, that might have been a suspension.
Yeah, it's like this guy is gonna feel that when he's 80, and it's like I feel bad for him.
Yeah, he might feel that when he's 30.
He's gonna feel that tomorrow. Yeah.
It was Sean Washington hit quarterback Mike Bercovici. Yeah, that's how you say that. I should know I'm Italian.
Yeah, you should know that.
It sounds like an Italian name. Now, yes, but we got to leave in about a minute. But before we do that, I see you're wearing a 76ers shirt.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about their recent trades that we will get into later on in the show?
I'm a big fan of Tobias Harris. I think they gave up a lot in draft assets, but they're going for it this year. I think it really depends a lot on free agency this offseason, but this year it makes them a lot better. I think the bench additions are better than I thought. Obviously, we're 2 games in. But I think Mike Scott's a big addition. I think James Ennis, they got him for nothing. I think he's going to do some things as a backup wing.
Boban?
I love Boban.
What is he, like 7'4"?
He's like...
unstoppable.
He is 12 feet tall. He is Godzilla.
He's insane.
I love Boban so much. Him and his Mario Kart, like, little cart.
I'm surprised the Pistons got rid of him, actually. Or no, was it the Clippers?
The Pistons originally traded him to the Clippers,
yeah.
And then he got traded to the Sixers. I like Joel Embiid and Boban on the same team is my dream.
Joel's probably one of my favorite NBA players at the moment.
He's amazing. He's one of my favorite NBA players,
him and Giannis, even though the Bucks are quote-unquote Bulls rivals, but I think the Bulls are their own rivals at this point. Well, I mean...
They're their own rivals.
You got to try to get Zion somehow, right?
Yeah, we can talk about the Otto Porter trade later.
We definitely will. We definitely will. Kareem Hunt, he signed with the Cleveland Browns earlier today. If you're not familiar with Kareem Hunt, former Kansas City Chiefs running back, drafted in 2017. He was the NFL's leading rusher that year. He won the Pro Football Weekly Rookie of the Year. He was a 2017 Pro Bowler as well. And the following year, 2018, he continued to improve and do Kareem Hunt things until video surfaced in November of security footage of him at a casino or a hotel with a bunch of different people, with a bunch of his friends, male and female. There was one female in particular that he pushed and kicked, and it's all on video for, in front of God and everybody. And as soon as that video came out, the Chiefs cut him, and 2 months later, he's been put on the commissioner's exempt list, which means he can't play and he's not making any money. But he's not really, there's not really a suspension or anything. He's just kind of in limbo. So he's still waiting on some kind of punishment from the league. However, he was able to sign with Cleveland earlier today, and it looks like the Browns wanted to be the ones to stick their necks out there and just try to capture that lightning in a bottle with him again.
Yeah, I don't understand this move really at all. They have two talented running backs, and they're combined. They're Kareem Hunt. You don't really need one Kareem Hunt. You have Duke Johnson and Nick Chubb. Mm-hmm. Why take the PR hit? Why bring this person to your locker room that can cause fracturing just to have the same thing again?
Yeah, that's another thing. The Bears have been linked to Kareem Hunt ever since the offseason ended. Actually, since he got cut.
I remember that.
Since he has the Kansas City connection with Matt Nagy.
Yeah, he was connected to the Eagles too, as well.
Yeah, I think the Bills. There was a report that the Bills were looking at him too. But like you said, the Browns have Nick Chubb and Duke Johnson, and the Bears have Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen.
Eagles don't have anybody.
Yeah, Eagles.
But
who are the Eagles running backs now?
So they have Corey Clement, who was injured, put it on IR last season. They have Josh Adams, who's a rookie, who is decent. He's not very good.
Darren Sproles still there?
Yeah, he's probably going to retire. And then they have Jay Ajayi, who's a free agent. Mm-hmm. He tore his ACL last season.
Yeah, that's right.
And then I'm missing someone. Wendell Smallwood.
Okay, yeah.
Philly native. He played in the playoffs a lot. He played well. He's like a tough runner despite his small stature.
Yeah. So Kareem Hunt, obviously a dynamite player. He lit the league on fire when he was a rookie. Let me just read you off some of his stats. In 27 career NFL games in the regular season, he has 2,151 rushing yards on 453 attempts for about 5 yards a carry, 833 receiving yards for about 10.5 yards per catch, 15 rushing touchdowns, 10 receiving touchdowns, and as mentioned, he was the NFL's rushing leader in 2017 as a rookie with 1,300 yards. So the resume is there in the short sample size.
He's great. I mean, I do kind of question how great he's going to be outside of Kansas City. I think that Andy Reid is an offensive genius, as he proved last season. And when Kareem Hunt was cut, they didn't really miss a beat at the running back position.
Yeah, they had like 2 or 3 guys come in and fill in, and
they had Damian Williams, they had Spencer Ware, they had Darrell Williams, who was a short yardage guy, and those 3 guys stepped up, and Andy took advantage of that.
It's crazy what a scheme can do for a player for the
amazing.
Entire team.
I love Andy Reid. He was in Philadelphia for so long. He's just so smart. I mean, obviously, I said there's questions. There's probably less questions than I am saying because Kareem Hunt's just that talented.
So it seems like you're definitely on the fence of you would play it safe and not sign him if you were a general manager.
I agree. It's hard to take that PR hit and just bring that guy in the locker room, as I said before. Especially when you have so much talent at the running back position already.
Do you think his apologies so far have been suffice?
I mean, I haven't seen them personally. I've heard conflicting opinions on them. So I would say probably not, just based on people I trust and I know. They're like, this is not, how do I say this without cursing? What's the worst word you can say on the radio?
Well, I know 7 that you definitely can't say.
No, he's just not. He's half-butting it.
Half-ass? You could say ass.
Oh, great! Well, this opens a world of possibilities.
Yeah, you can get away with some of those. I forget. Like George Carlin also had the joke in that bit about there's some double meaning words that you can finesse your way in.
That's true. I'll try and do that. I'll write some down during the break.
So, as a Bears fan, I obviously was conflicted with the reports about the Bears wanting to bring in Kareem Hunt. On one hand, he would undoubtedly probably make the Bears a NFC favorite. No question.
Yeah, sure.
On the other hand, the PR hit is not worth it, especially considering when Ryan Pace first got here, the Bears GM, he signed Ray McDonald, who was a former San Francisco 49er defensive lineman with a history of domestic violence. And apparently it seemed that at the time he had gotten over those issues and he had, he had a come to Jesus moment. And pretty much everybody on the Bears agreed and signed off that, yes, we can do this. It's a low risk, high reward, and we'll just, we'll do what we got to do. And like 2 weeks later, a report came out about him being in trouble with
the law again.
Yeah, another domestic violence case. So I think, I don't know, if they hadn't signed Ray McDonald like 3 years ago, would they have maybe been a little more proactive in going after Kareem Hunt?
That's true.
Maybe, but the PR hit, like you said, and they already have Tariq Cohen, who they really like. And even though they don't utilize Jordan Howard as much as I think they should, he's obviously not Kareem Hunt, but when you have the tandem of, the little gadget guy in Tariq Cohen who can go out for the deep pass and slip through the defense, you also have Jordan Howard who can do it all. He could power through. He can be your goal line back as well. Two running backs, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
I agree. It's like I said before, Nick Chubb and Duke Johnson or Kareem Hunt combined, they're probably a little better than Kareem Hunt combined. Again, with the Chicago Bears, it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. I imagine if the Bears signed him, that means Jordan Howard's just gone. He'd be traded.
Jordan Howard's been involved in trade talks like for the past 2 years because whether it's John Fox or Matt Nagy, it just seems like they haven't been able to utilize him in the best way possible to showcase his talents and whatnot.
You think John Fox would be able to do that? John Fox runs a 1960s offense.
Yeah, you would think so.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he racked up all those yards.
Because he just ran him every play. Like I remember the Eagles played the Bears, Mitch Trubisky's first year, I should say. And Trubisky threw the ball 17 times, less than 17 times.
Yeah, John Fox is not the guy you want.
Let's keep talking about John Fox.
He's not the guy you want to be molding your franchise quarterback. I mean, he was here for 2-3 years just kind of as like that stopgap guy. Kind of like
they were holding on to something.
Kind of like Rick Renteria for the Cubs before Joe Madden became available, and they're like, "All right, you're nice, you're a good coach, but see ya."
He's not the guy. Yeah. I understand that.
Yeah.
Back to the Kareem Hunt thing. I know we love talking about that. There was a situation with the Eagles locker room years ago. It was Mike Vick. Well, not Mike Vick. It was obviously they did sign Mike Vick, but that's a different case. He did time and he paid his dues, and he also regretted what he did, and he apologized a bunch. Riley Cooper, you remember him?
Oh yeah.
He said the N-word at a concert.
On tape.
Yeah. It
Clear
was
as
filmed.
day.
And the Eagles kept him because even though there was a fracture in the locker room, the team leaders signed off on it. The management signed off on it. Andy Reid wanted to keep him, or I think at that time it was even Chip Kelly. But I think if you get a team behind him, at least most of the team, it's not okay to sign them, but I think it won't hurt your locker room.
Yeah, I mean, from an outsider's perspective, you can never really gauge the level of contrition with somebody who's done wrong in professional sports, or if they're a celebrity. You can never really tell unless maybe they have some they do some activism or something. But
exactly, that's how they get face back.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it is up to the management, and if they sign off on it, then that's their decision, and then it's up to the fans and us to critique it if need be.
It's so hard. Why did they put us in this position?
No, it's fine. So, NBA trade deadline came and went on this past Thursday. A lot of big moves, actually. This is probably the most active I've seen the deadline in a while.
Yeah, big names, too, Very unexpected. Well, everybody knew Marc Gasol was going to get traded, but Tobias Harris wasn't expected to be moved. And so Harrison Barnes, nobody thought he'd be acquired. Other names like that.
So, we, like you said, we have Marc Gasol going from the Memphis Grizzlies to the Toronto Raptors for Jonas Valanciunas as the centerpiece of that deal. How do you think that improves the Toronto Raptors' playoff chances? Or not playoff chances, championship chances.
Championship chances? I don't think it does as much as people are saying. Obviously, Marc Gasol matches up better with Joel Embiid than Jonas Valanciunas. I think that's why they got him. Because when you look at the starting lineup and the finishing lineup for the Raptors, you're not going to put him in probably either. I look at it and I go, Kyle Lowry at the 1, Danny Green at the 2, Kawhi Leonard at the 3, Pascal Siakam at the 4, Serge Ibaka at the 5. So Marc Gasol's there to kind of stop Embiid, play some spot minutes in the playoffs. Like if you're playing against the Bucks in the playoffs, I don't think Marc Gasol's playable. Just because.
How so? Even though he's matched up against Brook Lopez?
Yeah, but Brook Lopez has been bombing threes.
Yeah, that's true.
So, you got a 5-out system right now, and he's in space, and you don't really want Marc Gasol at his old age and his, pudgy body in space.
Poor Marc Gasol.
Yeah.
Did you see Powell apparently requested a trade from San Antonio?
I didn't see that, but it makes sense.
Yeah, he apparently requested a trade from the Spurs, but it was obviously not granted. So you got to wonder what's going on down in San Antonio.
Yeah, they're in a weird state right now where he's not going to play a lot of 5 for them. They have Pirtle at the 5, and they like Aldridge at the 5 starting right now.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's very good anymore.
Yeah, I mean, he's gotten older, and he doesn't really have it anymore.
Yeah, he's getting paid a lot this year. I don't think they could have found matching salary.
That's exactly why. I mean, I remember when the Bulls signed him as the Carmelo consolation prize. I was a little pissed. I was a little upset. I wanted Carmelo, but it turned out that everything worked out in the end.
Yeah,
the Bulls didn't sign Melo to that monster deal, but
he has a partial guarantee for next year.
Yeah,
so they could just waive him for a $7 million cap hit, or they can trade him. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to take on. If you guarantee it, it's $16 million.
The Bulls actually finally did get Carmelo a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Gosh. So
he's cut already, though.
God.
It's for TLC.
Oh, my. Yeah.
Yeah, he played for the Sixers. I was so happy when they drafted him. I wasn't watching the draft at the time. I was, doing a humble brag. I was doing, a service mission. And, I wasn't allowed to have my phone, so, the director of the thing was, looking at the draft results. And he's like, 24, the Sixers draft Timothy Luau-Cabarrot. I jumped out of my chair. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
He's ranked 12th on some people's big boards.
It's funny because he plays for the Bulls and their names curve on the back of their jerseys, and just his name is just too ridiculous. It's a complete arc from the. I think he's number 7 on the Bulls now.
He's not very good though.
He's not the best player, but
he can get out in transition. He can. He's a good cutter. The Sixers drafted him to be a 3-and-D guy. Mm-hmm. He can kind of move his feet on defense, not as consistently as you'd like. He's a little less athletic than you think. He can sometimes dunk, and he can't really shoot three, so he's not a 3-and-D guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Bulls just got him because they're just trying to take a flyer on as many young guys as possible.
Why the Bulls entirely did it. I'm just giving you a dose of reality.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. I know. My expectations when we traded for him were not like, oh, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it. Don't even need the number 1 pick. We got it.
Yeah, I remember I was in a store or something, and I was watching the local news, and they reported about the TLC trade. I'm like, why would you report on that? I don't even think he was mentioned when the Sixers drafted him.
Yeah, I mean, some guys pan out, some guys don't, but if you're playing for the Bulls or a bad team, you got to make
minutes.
Yeah, you got to try to take advantage of your opportunity. Tobias Harris went to the 76ers from the Pistons. We touched on that a little bit. We both think Tobias Harris, that was a great pickup for the Sixers.
Yes, I agree. He's looked great so far. I have a big smile on my face for a reason. I think he is a great 4 next to all those players. I hope they re-sign him. I think he is going to help the Sixers a lot in the playoffs as well. I mean, he's not a great defender by any means, but he's a big body who can kind of move around, so he can do that.
Good scorer, too.
Yeah, he's a great scorer. He can score from – I'm going to be surprised at how well he scores, I think, because he's – I don't want to say Carmelo-esque, but he can, back a small player down, shoot it over him, stuff like that.
Yeah, he's a stretch 4. He came in the league. He was a 3. It's just kind of the way the league's going. If you're on the bigger side of being a small forward, they're just going to put you at 4.
Exactly.
They're going to run the 2 guards, the 2 forwards, maybe not even a center.
Yeah, I mean,
small ball.
Sixers,
it's the new NBA.
Sixers aren't even really play positional basketball because they have Ben Simmons at the 1. He'll just defend the best wing basically.
Yeah. Speaking of the Sixers, what did you think about Markelle Fultz being shipped off to Orlando finally?
I had an immense sense of relief. I love Markelle. I have one of his jerseys. My dad bought it for me because he didn't know who Markelle Fultz was. I really hope he pans out. I think Orlando's a good situation for him. They took a lottery ticket. They gave up a pretty heavily protected Oklahoma City first-round pick.
Yeah, they did give up first-round pick, second-round pick, and Jonathan Simmons, who's a wing.
Yeah, he's not good, though.
I think he's okay.
No, he's not. He's not going to play on the Sixers.
No?
No, he's shooting 22% from 3 this year. He's been sneaky garbage.
Well,
he can defend.
To be fair, I haven't watched a hell of a lot of
I understand.
Magic basketball.
I understand.
But
the only reason I know that is because he's on the Sixers now.
Yeah, from the first couple seasons that I watched him, he was on San Antonio first, correct?
Yeah, and then he signed with the Magic, and he had a good year last year. It's just this year he's been bad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's a case of he got the money and just stopped trying. Or maybe it's just that he's not that good.
I don't think he's that good.
Or maybe it was just the Greg Popovich influence.
Exactly.
Maybe.
I mean, Brett Brown, Greg Popovich tree, obviously, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of stuff there. I think it was mainly the Sixers wanted to get a first-round pick back for Markelle Fultz, and they did that. Did you see the story of the reason that Markelle Fultz finally got out of Philadelphia was because his mom basically pushed him out of there? She basically went to the front office. Did you hear anything about that? No, I think it would have been a bigger story.
So here's the article. I have it right here.
Who's it by?
Source, it's by Brian Jacobs. It's on phillyfrontoffice.net.
Yeah, I know that, yeah.
Just going to read the first couple lines. This past Thursday, 76ers finalized the trade with the Magic, sending Fultz to Orlando for Simmons, first and a high second-round pick. 76ers declined to comment on this particular event because the beginning of the end stemmed from a particular phone conversation orchestrated by his mother, Ebony, according to a source. Mama's always right.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, his family's had a big impact on why he's not being a good player right now. He trained with his uncle the summer after he was drafted, and that's why he can't shoot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you hear all these weird reports about, what he did with his uncle, and it's he shot on the floor, and, he just threw up shots, 100 times a day from the floor, and you're like, that's not, that doesn't sound good.
It's very strange.
Yeah, it is kind of a PR move just for the Sixers to recoup some value. They originally owned that pick from the Magic. Mm-hmm. They traded it away for a first-round pick in 2018. His name is. They traded away for a foreign big man, pick number 25. If you've never heard of him, there's a reason for that.
Is he still overseas? They just got his draft rights?
Yeah, he's terrible now. His name's Anzej Pasechniks. There's a bunch of vowels and stuff.
I got you.
I was so angry when they drafted him. I'm still angry that they drafted him. He's terrible. He's 7'2". He's not athletic. He can't dunk, and he's 7'2", and he can shoot a 3 occasionally. He's getting 4 minutes a game in Europe.
Let's just touch on a few more before we get into the Bulls. We have the Milwaukee Bucks getting Nikola Mirotic from the New Orleans Pelicans, former Chicago Bull. I like that pickup for the Bucks. Actually, I think Milwaukee probably deserves to be the favorite in the East.
Yeah, I mean, they're the number 1 seed right now.
I mean, you're obviously wearing the Sixers shirt as I say this.
I think they're I don't know how they're going to do in the playoffs. I question some of their three-point shooters. They're shooting really well right now. They obviously get a lot of open three-point shots. That's their system. And I also question how people are going to guard Giannis in the playoffs. Everybody's like, oh, Giannis is so great, and then they trash Ben Simmons. I'm not saying they're equivalent players, but they both don't shoot threes. Mm-hmm. You can defend them pretty similarly.
Yeah, they're both big natural forwards who can move and handle the ball a lot.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think the Sixers are their biggest threat. That's not.
I would say I would say so too.
Because they have Joel Embiid, and nobody can really stop Joel Embiid on their roster. Not even Brook Lopez.
I think the Bucks and the Sixers definitely have the most complete roster. I think Toronto is definitely up there as well, especially with the addition of Gasol and the emergence of Siakam.
Yeah.
But
I think it's those three teams, and then there's like a little bit of a gap, and then the Celtics, and then the rest.
Yeah, the Celtics have been. I don't know. The Celtics have been weird recently.
I know. You hate to see it, don't you?
Whatever.
Things you hate to see. That.
Oh, no. The Knicks are doing bad. The Lakers are doing bad. Oh no.
Boy.
What are you going to do?
What's ever going to happen to the NBA?
Harrison Barnes went to the Kings. Avery Bradley also was on the move. Wilson Chandler, Markieff Morris, Thon Maker were all dealt. So just wheeling and dealing like crazy. As I mentioned, I wanted to ask you something real quick. I brought up this story about Markelle Fultz's mother possibly being instrumental in him finally leaving Philadelphia. Do you think that athletes' family members should be as involved as some of these players are, a la Markelle Fultz or Derrick Rose with his family being in his ear and basically controlling what he said when he was in Chicago?
I think it's up to the player. I mean, they're individuals.
What would you do?
What if I were a professional athlete?
Yeah, why not?
Oh boy, that's a loaded question. I would do so many things. I would probably
if you were unhappy in your current situation and your mother knew about it as well, would you be happy with your mom going to the upper management of the NBA franchise and basically cussing them out?
I think everybody has a different relationship with their mother. I don't know. That's a cop-out.
That's fair.
I wouldn't do that, but...
What are your thoughts on LeVar Ball?
Oh, he's terrible. I'm glad we're not hearing from him.
He's been very quiet.
Yeah.
He's been in China with LaMelo, right?
I think so. He was in Latvia for a brief time with LaMelo and what's his name? LiAngelo. They were in Latvia, and then they had that weird league that he probably paid millions of dollars for. Now LaMelo's back in high school.
Is he?
In the United States. Yeah, he's playing in Ohio. And there's a bunch LeVar's he's going to play at UCLA, or in college. I don't know if UCLA is going to take him anymore. But he's going to play in college, and then the NCAA is like, no, he got paid. Yeah. So he's probably not an amateur anymore.
No, yeah, I think once you go overseas,
you're
and
not allowed to play.
Yeah, you just kind of renounce your college eligibility, I guess. I think he's not a college student anymore. He's a professional.
He's a pro.
He's a pro. So we got that out of the way. Let's go to the Bulls real quick. The Bulls were active at the trade deadline for the first time in a while. With significant moves, I mean. They traded Bobby Portis, their backup power forward, as well as Jabari Parker, the forward they signed, Chicago native. Didn't pan out. They tried to play him at the 3, the small forward. Couldn't keep up defensively with the other threes. Tried playing him at power forward, where he has been playing with Milwaukee before he got here. And he put up great offensive numbers.
Because he chucked a shot every time he got it.
And he just can't play defense.
Yeah, you can't. Why would you play him at 3 if he can't even defend 4s,
Because they needed that. They needed to fill the spot with somebody.
Well, then do it with somebody else. Sign a guy off the street.
I think their reasoning was they didn't expect to be players this year and making the playoffs at all. So they just kind of took a flyer on them. They gave them whatever cap space that wasn't being used up.
$20 million,
yeah. So I mean, good for him with cash in the check.
Yeah.
But the Bobby Portis and Jabari Parker are now in Washington playing for the Wizards. The Bulls got back Otto Porter Jr., who is a natural small forward, and Otto Porter Jr. threw 43 games this season, 12.9 points per game, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 46% field goal percentage, and he has a player efficiency rating of just a shade over 15. Now, those numbers sound pretty decent for a starting small forward, and in the past 2 games with the Bulls, he has averaged, I believe, 17.5. So he's definitely playing. He's definitely showing what he's capable of. The biggest stipulation with this trade, he is owed $55 million over the next 2 years.
Yes. He's not good, and he's being paid a lot. He's very inefficient. He is being paid the max.
Yep.
I remember when he was overpaid from the start. Like, I don't know why
definitely.
Brooklyn gave him that deal, but Washington had to match. I don't like this trade because I say he's not a good player. He's better than what the Bulls had, and I think
for sure.
I think it worsens their chances at a top 3 seed at the lottery.
I think their reasoning behind this is, before the trade deadline and before they made the move, I believe the Bulls were in 3rd or 4th place overall for the draft for the draft pick, for the draft odds. And I think maybe the Bulls are just trying to do a little bit of damage control and kind of, in a way, preparation for maybe not landing the number 1 pick in the lottery and not drafting Zion. So that leaves the door open to possibly draft a Ja Morant or an RJ Barrett or a Cam Reddish. What do you think?
I just go for it. Just tank. Trade away everything. I was a huge fan of Sam Hinkie in Philadelphia. He stripped it all down, and he was so smart. He turned over the margins so well. He got so many second-round picks. Some of those hit. A lot of them don't. People point at the ones that don't, but more second-round picks don't hit than do hit.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
Yes, second-round picks in the NBA are basically like 6th and 7th round picks in the NFL.
Yeah, high second-round picks, probably like 4th-round picks.
Yeah.
If you want to do an equivalency chart.
Yeah, I mean, you could find talent anywhere, but you're more likely than not going to land a star.
I understand that. I just don't understand why Chicago's tying up their books when this was a big thing when Brian Colangelo was GM of the Sixers 2 years ago. He signed Amir Johnson to a $15 million contract, J.J. Redick to a $23 million 1-year contract, and that took up all their cap space. There is asset collection game in the NBA by just taking on bad contracts and draft assets with that. This is going to tie up the Bulls' books with Levine, Porter, and they're going to have to pay Dunn soon. I
don't think they're sold on Dunn.
Yeah, that's true, but they're going to have to make a decision on him soon, I should say.
I think it's more likely than not that they're going to let him walk.
Interesting. Okay. He's not. I don't like him, but.
Well, I think I don't know. I think I don't think he's starting caliber.
He's not.
I think he could be a very effective bench guard, sort of like a Marcus Smart kind of player.
I was thinking like Patrick Beverly.
He could do that. He's not on the same level defensively as Patrick Beverly, but he gives you that same edge for sure.
Yeah, he gives you the edge, and that's his game, defense. Like, he's not a great scorer. I just don't like the Bulls management. Like,
nobody does.
Exactly.
Nobody in Chicago likes the management.
I know, but it just irks me that the NBA allows that to happen, and I don't understand how you can be a fan of a team with such bad management.
All right, so let's just touch on the Blackhawks for a second here, because they are red hot. Me myself, is that a sentence? Anyway, myself as well as many other Chicagoans wrote the Blackhawks off months ago, because they did not look like the championship caliber team that we've seen. It looked like the dynasty had crumbled. They had fired Joel Quenneville for no apparent reason. Basically, yeah. Stan Bowman just...
Future Flyer coach.
Yeah. I mean, good luck to Q. Anywhere he goes. Best thing that he did right after he got let go, he was at the Bears game on, I think it was a Monday night, and he was tailgating with the fans, doing shots.
Nice.
So that was nice. He was just living his best life, collecting that Hawks check.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
So yeah, now Q's gone. Now the Hawks have Jeremy Colleton, who was the head coach of the minor league affiliate in Rockford. So he didn't have NHL experience, but he did have experience with the young players and bringing them up, and a lot of them are now on the NHL team. So the Blackhawks have been on a 7-game win streak the past 7 games in the past about 2 weeks, and they have been scoring
a lot.
They've been scoring at an unprecedented level.
Especially
Patrick Kane is playing lights out. He's mirroring his stats are mirroring his MVP season. Maybe just like a shade. Maybe just like a shade less, but definitely he's got 33 goals. He was the third star of the week. He was the player of the month for January. January 20th, he was the third star of the week. So Patrick Kane's obviously going to do what he does. Jonathan Toews, in the beginning of the season, looked like he kind of regressed a little bit, but it seems that he has risen from the ashes and taken on that role of Captain Serious one more time. And a lot of their young players have really stepped up. Alex DeBrincat seems to be their new young superstar going forward, hopefully. And Dylan Strome, who they got in a trade earlier this year from the Arizona Coyotes, he was pretty much written off and labeled as a bust. In 3 seasons with the Coyotes and their minor league team, scored 3 seasons, 48 games over those 3 seasons. Only 7 goals, 9 assists, .092 shooting percentage, a plus-minus of -11 with an average ice time of about 13 minutes. With the Blackhawks, in 1 season, 32 games, so he's only 17 shy of eclipsing his 3-year total with the Coyotes. In those 32 games with the Hawks, he has 11 goals, 19 assists, almost a...
It's .09.
Yeah, almost a 20% shooting percentage, a plus-minus of 2, positive 2, of course, and about 17 minutes of average ice time. So the Hawks seem to be allowing him to just play the game and let it come to him. Because it seems like in Arizona, whenever he did bad, they just kind of benched him. But now that the Hawks, I think, also kind of wrote themselves off early in the season. And Stan Bowman was bringing in, Stan Bowman made a lot of moves. He brought in some young players. He got rid of some people as well. And they basically just let him feel things out with Jeremy Colleton and let him play. And now they're riding a 7-game win streak. Both of their goalies right now, Cam Ward and Colin Delia, are lights out. They're playing fantastic. Corey Crawford is supposed to come back soon, even though his concussion history worries me a little bit. He's also 34 years old. Colin Delia is the goalie of the future, supposedly. They just signed him to a 3-year deal with $1 million. $1 million is the average over those 3 years. So basically a 3-year, $3 million deal. And, even as bad as Cam Ward was in the beginning of the season, he showed up. He showed up as of late. It's definitely, his Carolina Hurricane days are definitely coming out at the moment.
Yeah, good for them.
I know you don't follow hockey. I don't follow hockey as much as the NFL or NBA, but I do know my way around the Blackhawks.
Yeah, I know my way around the Flyers.
How are they doing this season?
Mixed.
They
fired the head coach, Hackstall, which is what everybody's been wanting.
Hackstall? Okay. I thought you said Hacksaw. I'm like, that is the greatest name I've ever heard.
No, so they had a GM whose name was Ron Hextall, and they had a coach whose name was Dave Hextall. So Hextall and Hextall. I'll spell it. The GM's name was Hextall. Coach's name was Hakstol.
So no relation.
No relation. They were completely different people, both pretty not good at their jobs, but that's basically the only thing that ties them together.
That's so funny.
They are doing okay. They're also on a win streak. They're probably going to be snapped tonight against the Pittsburgh Penguins. They're making a playoff push. They got a lot of young players playing. It's a weird mix. There's no in between. There's a lot of rookies and then there's a lot of veterans. They're playing better under the new head coach, Scott Gordon. He was the AHL guy. They were rumored to hire Joe Quenneville, when he got fired.
Mm-hmm.
But then reports came out this is not going to happen until next year. He's skiing right now. That was an actual report. It was the Flyer, 2 weeks after Joe Quenneville was fired, and they fired Dave Hackstall. There was a report that came out saying Quenneville is going to be hired tomorrow. So I got really excited. I posted everything on 5-3 Sports, and I posted everything on Twitter. And then the next day I wake up, Hextall's fired. They promote Scott Gordon to the head coach. Quenneville's nowhere to be found. And reports came out saying that, he's going to wait until after the season because he's skiing for fun.
Yeah. Blackhawks right now are only 4 points out of a playoff spot. They can definitely make that run if they continue their hot streak, of course. Whether or not Corey Crawford comes back and disrupts that chemistry or just elevates them to a championship contender one more time remains to be seen. The Flyers, where are they at right now? They are currently they have 57 points. They are currently 6 points out of a playoff spot.
Yeah, they can do that. They can make it up. They're playing really well right now. They turned everything around. They played really poorly at the beginning of the season.
That final wild card spot in the Eastern Conference is currently held by the Pittsburgh Penguins. So if they win tonight, then that point differential is just going to get larger, and the Philadelphia Flyers are going to be farther away from a playoff berth.
Can you say come back?
Can you say come back?
Please do. Yeah, it's the Flyers. I mean, I just want them to be really good so I can follow hockey more closely, you know?
Were you a Flyers fan during the 2011 Cup when they played the Hawks?
I watched the 2011 Cup. I was disappointed, but I've never really been a huge Flyers guy. I just got into knowing the players like 3 years ago.
Yeah, it was kind of lucky. I started following sports like basically that year that the Hawks won the championship. So that was nice. And then the year after that, the Bulls went to the Eastern Conference Finals, and the Bears went to the NFC Championship game. So it seemed like, at first I was given these good teams to cheer for.
Now you're
but then they just collapsed. Yeah. They collapsed right before they could reach the pinnacle of success. But what are you going to do? It's Chicago sports. I'm used to it.
I've been alive for 2 Philadelphia championships.
I've seen. Well, I mean, I didn't watch quote unquote the White Sox in 2005.
Yeah.
I was aware,
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw all the Hawks championships. The Cubs winning the World Series was great, of course. I'm just hoping for the next one. Hopefully it's the Bears next season.
I can't get too greedy. I mean, the Eagles won last year. I did watch in 2008. That was I followed baseball all throughout my childhood. That was the only sport I followed. So when the Phillies won in 2008, that was a big deal to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully the Bears can do it next year.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Unless you get another quarterback.
Unless we get Kareem Hunt.
No, another quarterback.
You don't like Mitch?
No, I don't. I think he's not good.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
Where are you gonna go? Where are you gonna go with that guy?
Okay. Well, we could talk about that in the Bears segment.
There's a quarterback on the market who's much better than him. His name rhymes with Bick Knowles.
Oh no.
You should get him. He'd be a good one-year pickup.
Can we only play him in the playoffs though?
I mean, he can play some regular season games.
Some, I guess,
yeah,
but
some.
He's like Eli Manning. He'll only come alive when it matters.
I've never been more insulted in my life.
Why is
Eli
that?
Manning?
Oh,
Ew.
Well, Eli Manning is
terrible.
He's a postseason quarterback.
He's also terrible.
I'll give you that, but the dude has 2 Super Bowls.
Lucky. I write those off. Nick Foles is a better player than Eli Manning. Let me tell you.
Hot take.
Hot take.
Hot take.
That's called a homer take, not hot take.
Either way, I respect the opinion. Just before we came back, Jake showed me a tweet that turned out to be fake that literally made my heart just spike in beat because I was so happy.
Fake Bleacher Report account. Bleacher Report.
We both have our hands just covering our face.
My bad.
No. It's anyway. It said that the Memphis team in the AAF had signed Jamarcus Russell to play quarterback.
I mean, it's my team. I would have supported everything my team does.
I was so excited for a second. If you're not familiar with Jamarcus Russell, he was the first round. He was the number 1 overall pick for the Oakland Raiders in 2006, 2007.
I'll look it up.
And then the pick right after him turned out to be Calvin Johnson. So that's all you need to know. But Anyway, he came in the league arguably regarded as the worst quarterback in NFL history. He was about 300, 350 pounds at one given point in time.
Yeah, not very healthy.
Could not do anything, really, on the field. Anyway, I would have loved to see him do it again, especially especially since he's older and he hasn't played football in all those years. But
yeah, he's 33 right now.
But alas, just a pipe dream. Anyway. So let's just touch on the Bears real quick. I know we talked about them a little bit so far, but why do you hate Mitch Trubisky so much?
Speaking of bad QBs, Jamarcus Russell and Mitch Trubisky, I just don't think he's going to elevate your team I don't think he's going to be accurate enough. I just don't think he's going to be good enough.
Can you just get closer to the mic just a little bit?
Is this good?
One more time?
Hello.
Yeah, you're fine.
We're good.
No, yeah, the levels were fine beforehand, but you were just...
Yeah, sorry, I was slouching. I was too comfortable.
No, it's fine. I do it all the time.
So I'm going to say that Mitch Trubisky's not a good quarterback. I'm going to say he's I shouldn't say not a good quarterback because that's too... You
don't think he's going to...
top 15 guy.
You don't think he's going to develop into the guy that people think?
No, I think Bears made a big mistake drafting him over Deshaun Watson, Pat Mahomes.
Well, I think, Pat Mahomes arguably could have gone number one in that draft because throwing 50 touchdowns, with an MVP, and in what's basically his first season. He did have the quote unquote redshirt year under Alex Smith and learning from Andy Reid. However, the talent has always been there. Obviously.
Yeah, the talent's been there. It's just a matter of finding it. I didn't like Mitch Trubisky coming out of college. I'm not a huge tape guy. I just watch a lot of college football.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't very impressed with Mitch Trubisky. He's really good outside of the pocket. I don't like him inside the pocket, and I don't. One sec, sorry. It's making me sick how much we're talking about Mitch Trubisky.
Jesus, I think he has all of. I think he has all the tools for sure. All the physical tools are there to be, a standout NFL quarterback. It's just a matter of if he can bring it all together. Because last year we definitely saw flashes, more so than any regression. Definitely an improvement over the John Fox season.
Yeah, I mean,
That's not saying much, though.
It's not saying much at all. I would say normally a quarterback's second year is when they make that giant leap. That's a big cliche. I think it's pretty true. Carson Wentz made that big leap. Jared Goff made that big leap.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think Mitch Trubisky's going to do it. I think he can be a pest in many people's size, but I don't think he's going to get you over the top. I don't think he's going to ever be a top 5, top 7 guy.
I think he's just getting better, and of course that might be a little bit of bias on my part, but I'm optimistic with what I see. And being a Bears fan, we have a very checkered and negative history with quarterbacks.
Yeah.
If this tells you anything, Jay Cutler is the greatest quarterback in Bears history, statistically.
Yeah, that's right.
Jim McMahon obviously won the Super Bowl, but he was no world beater.
No, he's not.
Sid Luckman played in the 40s.
Oh boy, that's a name.
Yeah, Red Grange, all those old timers.
Yeah, I've never heard of any of those. I don't think you're gonna get. I think this is the year for Mr. Trubisky to obviously make the big leap. If he's not an MVP candidate, I would say you probably don't have the right guy.
I think this past season the Bears were in a similar position to the 2015 Cubs, where they made the playoffs and shocked everybody by winning nearly 100 games, making it to the NLDS. And did they make it to the NLCS in 2015? I don't remember. I know they lost to the Mets. I think that was the DS.
This is why we have Google.
Exactly. But regardless, last year they definitely surprised a lot of people, and the Khalil Mack trade obviously propelled the Bears to probably 3 or 4 more wins, if we're being honest. He's just that type of player, and I have no problem with giving up 2 first-round picks for him because they're not going to be high draft picks anyway. And, Khalil Mack, when you have the opportunity to get a generational player like that, whether it's Khalil Mack, Aaron Donald, a player of that caliber, you got to throw the kitchen sink at him if you really want him on your team.
That was the year they lost to the Mets in the NLCS.
Okay, so they did make it to the NLCS. Okay, cool.
I don't think the offense was that great last year. You look at the advanced numbers. I hate when people say Look at the advanced numbers, bro. It stinks.
Sabermetrics.
Sabermetrics. I would say they were. I can pull up some numbers right now, but I remember going back. I remember it was pointed out to me by somebody like they were an okay offense. They weren't as great as people thought.
They weren't. It wasn't the Chiefs' offense or anything. But
nobody's the Chief offense. I'm not even saying they're. I'm saying they're like worse than the Eagles' offense, like normally would be.
Fair enough. I mean, they did have a little bit of. They had some injury issues. Some guys were in and out of the lineup, but that happens, and you got to be able to overcome that. I just think next year the Bears are probably going to be. They might have a worse record because their schedule is definitely going to be tougher. But I think the talent and the progression is still going to be there. Did you want to share your final thoughts on Mitch Trubisky before we get into Kyler Murray?
I have some stats, some real stats.
All right, go ahead.
In yards, the Bears they had 343.9 yards a game. That was 21st in the NFL. They had the 21st ranked pass yards in terms of average yards per game. And they had a better rushing game than they did a passing game with 121 rush yards a game. That was 11th. And you look at their passing statistics, actually Tariq Cohen was a better quarterback. 1 for 1, 1 touchdown, 1 yard, 118 rating.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could say...
I'm joking, but
you could say Bradley Sowell was the best receiver because he had 1 catch for...
I'm just joking. It's called a joke. I understand that Tariq Cohen...
I'm just joshing you.
I'm just joshing you, bro. It's just a joshing.
I gotcha.
But they did have a great defense, and I think that's what carried them.
Oh, absolutely. No question.
I think they're going to... We have to see what Chuck Pagano does, but I think there's going to be a little bit of a drop-off. There
might be a little bit of a drop-off because Vic Fangio is a genius, and obviously you're going to miss his prowess behind the clipboard. But Chuck Pagano is also a proven name. He's dealt with being the Ravens' defensive coordinator with guys like Ray Lewis, Ed Reed on the team. He was the head coach for the Colts, obviously. So I think that they're definitely going to be a great defense again because Khalil Mack and Akeem Hicks and all those players are still on the team and they're gonna put up their own numbers. I'm just hoping that the offense takes the leap it needs in order to solidify their stance as a perennial playoff monsters of the Midway.
Yeah, I definitely don't think they're a bad team. I think they're going to be constantly good for the next 10 years.
They'll probably win the division again.
Yeah, totally. I think the division is going to be better next year.
It will
Green
be.
Bay, we have to see about Matt LaFleur in Green Bay, but I think the
that
Vikings
will be very
will probably be the same, so we'll see.
Yeah, I'd say the Vikings are probably going to be pretty stagnant. I mean,
yeah, I agree. I think this is where that was their basically median outcome last year.
Yeah, so $90 million fully guaranteed to Kirk Cousins.
Yay, I love it.
That's on you guys. Okay, so Kyler Murray. If you're not familiar with Kyler Murray, former Oklahoma Sooner quarterback, also played outfielder for their baseball team. He previously had been drafted, actually, by the Oakland A's to play for their organization. Oakland Athletics are obviously a baseball team, and Kyler Murray, for the past couple months, has been mulling over the decision of whether or not to go fully engage with his MLB career, potential MLB career, or if he would instead follow his first love and try to be an NFL quarterback. And I think the most, the biggest driving force for his decision is what kind of money he can make soonest.
Yes, I agree.
And definitely he's a better quarterback than he is an outfielder. And quarterback money and baseball money, they're kind of similar. In baseball, you can get a 10-12 year contract for $300 million if you're a world beater.
Yeah, but there's like 4 of those guys ever. Not 4 of those guys ever, but like 4 of those guys at the market. Overall, there's probably like 15 total guys with that type of talent in the league.
Exactly. And so Kyler Murray chose that he decided that he's a better quarterback. He's not going to pursue the athletics career.
Yeah.
And he's going to try his hand at the NFL draft and hopefully cash in on that quarterback money a little sooner than he would have cashed in on the baseball contract.
Yeah,
Smart move?
I agree. Yes, it's a smart move. I think that he should get that quarterback money. He is a good quarterback. I think it depends on how he does at the combine, because he had those interviews recently where he's like flip-flopping back and forth, like, oh, nothing's committed yet, and then all the outrage probably spawned him to post this tweet about he's committed to being a quarterback. I think ultimately, I don't know where he's going to go. I'd probably bet first round. Like, if there was a prop bet, I would bet first round. I'd probably top half of first round, but I don't know how he's going to do interviews. I think that's a huge part of this process.
Yeah, he has to prove to the NFL scouts and the GMs that he did make the right decision and he wants to be here.
Yeah, and he's also really tiny.
Yeah, guys like Russell Wilson are able to make it work.
He's
but
smaller than Russell Wilson.
How tall is he?
Every time you see a tweet, it's like he's progressively smaller. I'm going to look up his real size.
So yeah, Russell Wilson, quarterback of Seattle. Obviously, he's won a Super Bowl. The Legion of Boom probably helped out with with that title a little bit.
Yeah, he's like 5'10", 5'11", Kyler Murray.
That's not that small. I mean, for an NFL quarterback,
when you look at him on the
be.
field, you can tell he's tiny. But he's also bulky. I think that's a big part of why Darren Sproles is so successful. Is just he's strong and he's like squatty, Whereas like Eagles drafted a guy named Donnell Pumphrey in the 4th round a couple of years ago. He was supposed to be Darren Sproles' replacement. He was just so skinny he was Darren Sproles' size, maybe a little taller, but he's just so skinny he couldn't hold up. I think Kyler Murray's stocky enough where he'll probably have injuries because he's still tiny, but he'll have less injuries than you think because he's not skinny like Lamar Jackson per se.
So what kind of team do you think would draft Murray? Which team in need of a quarterback most likely would maybe take the selection?
A fun team.
The Dolphins need a quarterback.
I think they can be a fun team. I don't know about the Brian Flores hire. I don't know much about their offensive coordinator, but they're a fun town, and they need to appeal to their fan base. They've just been mediocre for so long, and they need a spark, and I think Kyler Murray would be that right kind of spark.
Arizona has the first overall pick. Kyler Murray may or may not go number 1. Depends on if.
They have Josh Rosen,
Yeah, that's the thing. If they're still not really sold on Josh Rosen, which it seems like they're kind of on the fence at the moment. Josh Allen in Buffalo, they already know that he's going to be good. Well, I mean,
they're not going to draft another quarterback.
Yeah, they're confident in him.
Yes. So the quarterback needed teams in my eyes.
Oakland,
the ones
maybe?
that need a quarterback there's like 3 teams. It's the Giants, Jaguars, and the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
There's like other teams like in the 20s in the playoffs that have established quarterbacks, but they need a backup, like for the future. So you think of teams like
the Steelers, maybe
Steelers, Chargers. Oakland probably is going to move on from Derek Carr soon.
They need to move on from John Gruden, but that's not going to happen for 9 more years.
9 more years? That's insane. Patriots.
10 years, $100 million, and he's basically controls everything.
Yeah, he's Mike Mayock hired as GM. I kind of like the hire of Mike Mayock as GM, but he's not going to do much. He's just going to scout, which is what he's good at.
Yeah.
He was the Eagles' preseason commentator. So I don't know. This is the real storyline of that hire.
Yeah.
Who's going to be the Eagles preseason color guy now that Mike Mayock is hired by the Raiders?
Jeez. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So obviously, teams that are in need of a quarterback: Dolphins, Giants, Dolphins, Jaguars.
Yes,
for sure. Cardinals probably not. Raiders possibly, Chargers probably. I mean, like
Patriots.
Yeah, Patriots, Steelers, Chargers, all Saints. They're like their quarterbacks right now are obviously most of them are like Hall of Famers and Pro Bowlers, All Stars, All Pros, but they're old.
Yes,
they're gonna fall. They're gonna fall off in about 2-3 years. Although
sooner than that.
Tom Brady might last another 20, but we don't know.
I really hope not.
I mean, yeah, me too. As much fun as it is to just see Tom Brady just without any effort whatsoever, just do what he does and win these Super Bowls and playoff games. He shows up when it matters most. It is kind of fun just to see it, and have nobody's ever won 6 Super Bowls before, so it's fun, it's historic. But yeah, I want to see more people. I don't want to see the Patriots. I don't want to see the Warriors
especially
again.
Boston.
Yeah, I don't want to see the Warriors again. I don't want to see the Lakers. I don't want to see the Penguins. I don't want to see St. Louis Cardinals, the Yankees.
Oh, terrible. I'm not a big fan of the Cardinals either. They eliminated the Phillies obviously in 2011 from the playoffs. I don't hold a big grudge. I'm tired of the Cardinals as well.
So, final thoughts on Kyler Murray? Definitely made the right choice.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see where he goes. I hope he gets an innovative offensive coordinator. I think Miami's probably the best place for him to go.
I think so. I think Miami would probably be a very good fit as well.
13, I think that's where he's going.
Okay, you heard it here first.
Yeah, let's everybody place your bets right now. I'm not responsible for you losing money.
Whenever the draft is, we'll have Jake back, and if he's wrong, then I don't know. We can figure something out.
I can give more wrong draft takes after this if you want.
We can give more. Yeah, we can give more hot takes on on where players are going.
So I'm a comedy guy. I like stand up a lot. I watch a lot of stand up. I do improv. I'm actually e-board member of the Improv Club at Columbia College Chicago. Please show up, everybody.
Yep,
if listener.
Yeah, plug whatever you need to.
Fogwell podcast as well. Just listen to that. But I watched Ray Romano's stand-up special recently on Netflix.
How was that? I didn't get a chance to see that.
It was okay. I mean, Ray Romano's funny. He's got a good character. It's just like there's a certain point when you're a comedian where it's just like old people jokes. Where like I've seen a lot of stuff like this where it's like Ray Romano's just like, "Oh, my back, it hurts." It's like, "Oh, that's funny, I guess."
Yeah, some comedians seem to fall into that kind of like typecast.
Yeah,
kind of role.
Like I watched Jerry Seinfeld's recent special. That was okay. I wasn't very thrilled with it, but it was kind of like that, where it's like back in my day. Also, what's the deal? Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's classic Jerry Seinfeld. Yeah. There's a lot of great stand-up on Netflix, though. I forget what I was going to say about Ray Romano. It was an interesting concept. What he did was he went to 2 nightclubs and he just walked one street to another and did 2 sets. But then he started complaining about his kids, which is kind of funny, but at the same time, it's like, who cares? Yeah, Netflix has been the hotbed for comedy specials, and I'm very glad comedy has kind of hit a resurgence and a boom. Yeah, I am too, because I'm going into the field. Exactly. I'm gonna actually try some open mics next week. So where at? The Comedy Bar next Monday. So that'll be fun. I wrote my type 5. I compiled my type 5, which is like the 5 jokes you're supposed to tell it just off the bat. Like you're a comedian, you go to another comedian, like, hey, what's your type 5? Yeah. I wrote mine. It's okay. Can you share one? I'll share one. Go for it. I'll try and make it appropriate. Well, yeah, find one that can fit. This is probably the worst one, but it's also appropriate. This isn't satellite radio. Oh, I wish, like Howard Stern. Oh, geez, we'd be bouncing off the walls. Just person. Right. Oh, okay. All right, let's go. Hit it. I went to a prestigious. I don't have the delivery down yet. Let me try again. I went to a prestigious all-boys high school in Philadelphia. It has lots of famous alumni. On this list is a former classmate and current Georgia superstar running back DeAndre Swift. You know DeAndre Swift. I recently started a campaign to have him follow me back on Twitter. Well, how does one do that, you ask? I officially announced my campaign via tweet. I posted several tweets in a thread giving examples of things DeAndre and I used to talk about, mainly basketball. Oh, boy, does he love his basketball. And I changed my Twitter name to Jake Barrett, friend of DeAndre Swift. And the punchline is he blocked me. That's a real story. No, that's funny. There's definitely something there. That's very funny. I don't have a radio type 5 or, like little quips that, hey, we got this and that coming up. It's Jake the Snake in the Morning. This is Brandon in the Morning Zoo. Like, no, we're not there yet. Well, I don't know if I'll ever be that kind of guy, but we'll see. What I wanted to get into real quick. Obviously, this is a sports show, but it's also hip-hop oriented. Grammys were yesterday, and Best Rap Album had a very interesting winner, in my opinion. The nominees, if you didn't watch like I did, like I didn't watch either, but I saw the results. I caught the box score at the end, if you will. The nominees for the Best Rap Album were Pusha T with Daytona, Nipsey Hussle, Mac Miller,
Cardi B, and Astro World by Travis Scott. Cardi B ended up winning Rap Album of the Year. Rap Album of the entire year above those nominated, namely Travis Scott and Pusha T, and even guys that weren't nominated, even artists that weren't nominated, like Drake on Scorpion, which, probably not the best album content-wise, but the numbers it did were definitely insane. J. Cole's K.O.D., I believe, definitely should have been nominated, definitely for its lyrical content, for its message, which was basically, the K.O.D. stands for Kids on Drugs.
Oh, okay.
And it's basically an album just, talking about not being an addict when you're young, staying off lean and Xanax.
Yeah.
So I thought that album was great. Like it or not, Eminem's Kamikaze, I think,
Nah.
I don't know if it
probably maybe deserved a nomination, but definitely not a win.
Yeah, I can probably agree with that, even though I'm a big Eminem fan. Meek Mill, his Championships album from Philly. Here we go.
Yeah, I listen to Meek Mill all the time.
That album was fantastic.
I agree. Going Bad's a great song. Intro, the top three, intro, Championships, and Going Bad are the best.
Stuck in My Ways.
That's solid. I mean, all of them are solid.
That's a good banger. Just throw on.
Yeah, I agree. There's some lulls in the album. A lot of the songs like lull a little bit. But
yeah, that's gonna happen when you have about a 20-song album. Some of it's gonna be filler. Just like
first album out of prison.
Yeah, just like Migos with Culture 2.
There's a lot of songs.
There's a lot of filler.
70 songs on that album.
I don't know if there was 70, but maybe
at least 30.
Let me see. Yeah, maybe like 30, 40. Because that was the main thing with that album was that Migos just keeps pumping out these huge albums. It's basically their thing right now, I guess, is quantity over quality, which that's their artistic choice. Yeah,
24.
Culture 2 is 106 minutes long.
It's like a playlist on Spotify.
Yeah, let me hang on. KOD, I believe KOD is a short album. KOD was okay. That's a Tech 9 album, not the one I was looking for.
Oh, Tech 9. I'm a beast. Whatever that song is, you know what I'm talking about. It's like
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's right. I know mid 2000s rap better than I know current rap.
But yeah, J. Cole's album was 42 minutes long. Kamikaze by Eminem was about 45 minutes long. Ye by Kanye West was like 27 minutes long.
Yeah.
Kids See Ghosts, that was another great album. I thought that definitely deserved a nomination. I don't know who votes for the Grammys or whatever, but
I'll tell you, they're probably white.
You think?
Yeah.
Oh well, I mean, I don't pay attention to the Grammys, but
yeah, I pay attention to the Oscars.
I don't really pay attention to any of the award shows, but
I got in the Oscars a couple years ago. I like good movies.
Yeah,
this year it doesn't seem like there's a lot of those.
Yeah, I mean,
A Star Is Born. Like, I'm sure it's good, but
I heard it was pretty good.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's Oscar worthy.
My parents really liked it. I don't know if that translates to your musical, your movie likings, but
I do share the movie opinions of Mr. and Mrs. Orlowski.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, cool. You got it. You got my name on the first try. All right, we got to get out of here. It's been a great 2 hours, Jake. Thank you for coming by.
Sure.
We can definitely do this again. Maybe you and Ethan can come by one time.
Yeah.
And we could do a Fog Bowl kind of crossover.
X Athlete Beat podcast.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Once again, this has been the Athlete Beat on WCRX 88.1 FM. I am Brandon Orlowski. It's joined by Jake Barrett today. Jake, plug anything that you want right now.
Fog Bowl podcast. Download it on any podcast app. Comes to Improv Club every Friday, 3:30 to 5. The House, 623 South Wabash. I'll be doing improv shows. Friend me on Facebook, Jake Barrett.
Social media, Twitter handles, Instagram?
Twitter handle, at the Mocking Jake. Instagram, my hair was green once.
Oh jeez.
It was.
All over. No, your is that your screen name? Or screen name. What am I from the freaking 90s? Is that your username on Instagram? My hair used to be green.
My hair was green once. Yes. Because it was green once.
Fair enough. Might be a little hard to find at some point if you blow up, but I appreciate the creative flair that you hold on to.
Thank you.
You can find me pretty much on all the social media platforms at Brandon Orlowski. You can email me at brandononair@gmail.com if you have any questions about the show or radio, or you just want to call me an ass, whatever. So social media, Gmail, you can find me on there. Find the that's my other podcast that I did for a while. You can find this podcast, the Athlete Beat podcast. It's on Anchor, Stitcher, probably going to be on iTunes and Google in a couple days. I'll get back to you on that next week. You can also find it on YouTube. Just type in Brandon Orlowski or the Athlete Beat podcast. It'll be up there. Next week we'll be back same time. Hopefully we'll be joined by another guest. And once again, Jake, thank you for coming out. It's been a pleasure.
Hooray.
Hooray.